Okay, so good afternoon, students. Okay, so am I audible? Hello, am I?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so this is the lecture of the subject of soft optimization technique. So in the last class, okay, that was I think before Diwali. In the last class, we have discussed about the multi-objective optimization problem. Okay, that means any optimization problem maybe can address a single objective or a combination of more than one objectives simultaneously. Okay. The example we have seen that suppose you want to purchase a car and the objective is to purchase the cheapest car available in the market. So that means then there will be only one solution. Then you have to find out all the cars available and you have to determine which is the cheapest one. This is a single objective. Now suppose the problem is that you have to find the cheapest car but should also have a better performance. Okay, so that means then there are two objectives. So that means the solution will not be that finding the solution will not be that simple. Okay, that means these are the different objectives that you have to that are being dealt with simultaneously. Okay, so that means these are all multi-objective problems. That means whenever you are determining a solution for any problem, the problem is asking for the solution in a way that there are more than one conditions. Okay, so those are called multi-objective functions. Now in multi-objective functions, there is a concept which comes across, which is known as the Pareto optimality. Okay, so it was first being introduced in the field of economics, then it became an optimization problem, and then the solution can be determined using optimization techniques. Okay, so it is adopted by different fields in engineering also. So Pareto efficiency or the Pareto optimality is a situation where no individual or preference criterion can be better off without making at least one individual or preference criterion worse off or without any loss thereof. So this statement is little bit seems to be complicated, but the meaning of this statement is that in Pareto optimality we have to determine an optimal solution. So it is actually a method of determining the optimal solution for an objective problem. So optimal solution means, as I have already discussed, optimal means the best solution. Okay, best among the group, among the lot. Okay, now if you change the lot or you change this search space, then it can happen that the another result can be declared as better than the previous one, best one. Okay, so depending upon the group, it is the best solution, that is called the optimal solution. Now Pareto optimality is one such method where it is aiming towards finding the optimal solution, but the technique is that it is a way of determining the solution in which the better solution is determined by declaring one solution as the worst. That means when there are a group of people, okay, so you want to declare that this person is better. That means you have to show that the other person is not good. Then only the other person can be better. Okay, so the statement is being actually derived, or you can say defined in this way, that it is a situation where no individual preference criterion can be better off without making at least one individual worse off. That means one can be declared worse, then only the other person can be declared better. Okay, so this is the one kind of, you can say, method of the Pareto optimality problem. or technique. So situation in which it is impossible to make anyone better off without making someone worse off is said to be Pareto optimal or Pareto efficient. That means one particular variable can be declared as better if and only if the other variable is declared as worse. So that means you have to show someone worse in order to show the other person good or better. So the concept is named after the famous, you can say, civil engineer and economist who is from Italy. His name is Vilfredo Pareto, who used this concept in his studies of economic efficiency and income distribution. So basically it originated from the subject of economics. Okay, then it was then it was actually widely accepted by everyone, and it seemed to be quite efficient. Then it was adopted by the different fields also, other fields also. So the following are the three concepts that are closely related to each other. Okay. Number one is, given a situation, a Pareto improvement is a new situation where some agents will gain and no agents will lose. That means Pareto improvement. So Pareto improvement means when you see that first of all you have to recall that what you have studied or what we have studied in the optimization technique of the other, you can say, classes, because I think the other professors also are teaching you. So I think you have studied particle sum optimization. So have you did you study the particle sum optimization? Has been done in the class? Can anyone tell me? PSO, has this algorithm been taught in the class? Anyone? Hello? Particle sum optimization or any particular algorithm such as BAT algorithm or this kind of algorithms. Okay, so has this been taught in the class?
Yes, sir.
Okay, which one has been taught?
PSO, sir.
PSO. Okay, so in PSO, so what is the objective? Can you tell me what was the objective of the PSO? Means particles optimization, I am not going to the technique. I am just asking that why we are doing the PSO or why we are using the PSO. What is the reason? Can anyone share? Means can anyone speak up the why we are using PSO? What is the objective of under using this PSO? Now, what is the objective of optimization actually? Optimization means you have to find the better solution. Okay, it can be maximizing function, it can be minimizing function. So the optimization can be towards maximizing function or minimizing function. That means we have to determine a solution which is the best. Either it has to be maximum or minimum. Okay, that means efficiency. If efficiency is the objective function, then our goal is to find the maximum efficiency. So if it should be a maximizing function. If cost is our objective function, then our goal should be minimization. So it is a minimizing function. So we cannot go for maximum cost. No, we have to go for minimum cost. So that means we have to design a system in such a way that it gives the minimum cost. So any algorithm or any optimization method, what it does, it randomly determines or selects some solutions, and after finding the solutions, it sees that what is the actual, means you can say actual result, that if you put the values of the solution, suppose x1, x2, x3 are there, so you take x1 to be 1, x2 to be 1.1, x3 to be 0.9. You put and you determine that what is the actual function. Then you update those solutions and once again check the function and compare with the result of the previous iteration. That means the function f1 is equals to some combination of x, and you take random values of x, you put that and find the value of function. You call it first iteration. Then you update those values of x and you put those values of updated x into the function and determine the function in second iteration. Now you compare the result of the function in the first iteration with the function of the second iteration and compare that which is better. If it is a cost function, then if you see that the second iteration, the function, that is the cost, has become less, that means your values of x variables are better than the previous one. If it is not less, it is increased, that means cost has increased. So that means the new solution for the second iteration is not better. So that means you have to go for the other third one. Okay, so like that. So you have to continue this in this way till you get for the last 7 to 8 to 10 iterations, where you see that whatever value of x you are getting the same values of x. It is not updating. That means it is the best solution. You are not getting any better value. That means the function, or you can say the objective function, has been optimized. Okay, so but till until and unless you are getting better value for every iteration, that means you have to continue. You have to continue your optimization method or optimization problem. You have to, that means if you suppose you have taken 98 iterations, and after 90 iteration you go for 99 iteration, and you are seeing that at 99th iteration the solution is better than 90th iteration, then you have to go for 100 iteration, and after 100 iteration you see that at 101 you are getting better result, then you have to continue, and you have to continue till you get a stage where suppose 130 iteration, what you are getting the same value for 131 iteration, and same for 132, same for 133, like this, same for 150. Then you conclude that whatever solution we have got, it is the best, because if you proceed, if you go for 200 iteration, 300, 500, 1000, I will not get the better result. I will get the same result. It will repeat. So there is no point of going for the further iterations. Okay, so we will stop over here. So that means at 130th iteration, the problem is optimized. You have got the optimal solution. So there is no scope of improvement. But before 130, there was scope of improvement. Okay. So that is why it is called the Pareto improvement. That means given an initial situation, a Pareto improvement is a new situation where some agents will gain and no agents will lose. That means there is some scope of improvement. Okay. So using this Pareto technique, if you are getting some improvement, that is called Pareto improvement. Next is a situation is called Pareto dominated if there exists a possible Pareto improvement. That means if at iteration say 70, you are getting a result better which is compared to iteration 69. It means there is a Pareto improvement in the iteration 70, and the results which you have got are dominating results. Those are Pareto dominated results. So results will be called Pareto dominated. Okay. And a situation is called Pareto optimal or Pareto efficient if no change could lead to improved satisfaction for some agent without some agent losing, or if there is no scope for further Pareto improvement. That means after 130 iterations, you have got the best result. So if you keep on increasing the iterations, you will not get any better result. That means you have achieved a stage or situation where there is no further improvement possible. So you have achieved the optimal solution. So that stage is called, or that situation is called the Pareto optimal. So Pareto optimal or Pareto efficient if no change could lead to improved satisfaction for some agent. Agent means some variables. Okay, without some other agent losing, or if there is no scope for further Pareto improvement. So that means it is the best solution and there cannot be any better solution than the optimal solution. Okay. So these are the three important, you can say, concepts or terms. Now, formally, an allocation is Pareto optimal if there is no alternative allocation where improvements can be made to at least one participant's well-being without reducing the other participants' well-being. So that means if you keep on updating the variables, okay, if you declare one particular participant or one particular variable to be better, then the other you can say participant or the variable has to be worse. Okay, so you have to reduce that quality of the other participant. But if a stage has occurred, appear that there is no possible way that no improvement can be done, that is called Pareto optimal. So it is the same thing in a different statement. So if this is a transfer that satisfies the condition, the new reallocation is a Pareto optimal improvement. So if the reallocation is possible, then it is called the Pareto improvement. Otherwise, it will be called as Pareto optimal. Okay. So that means if there is a transfer that satisfies this condition, if there is a transfer possible, then it is called the improvement. So when no Pareto improvements are possible, we call it Pareto optimum. Okay, so these 3 points are told that, once again. Okay, so let me repeat this point. This may sound confusing, so I am repeating once again. So situation is called Pareto optimal if no change could be lead to improve satisfaction. So Pareto optimal means that improvement and Pareto optimal are very much synonymous to each other. What is improvement? You have got a better result in the next iteration. Suppose you are going for iteration number I, okay, and at I plus 1 iteration you have got better result. Okay, so that means there is some improvement in the I plus 1 result. Okay, which means that this variable x, which is in the I plus 1 iteration, okay, is better than x in the ith iteration. It is better. Okay, so if it is better, that means this variable is Pareto dominated. It is dominated. Okay, and there is some Pareto improvement. So this situation is having Pareto improvement, which means it is a Pareto optimal situation. Okay, so almost Pareto improvement and situation are very much close, because Pareto optimal means this is Pareto optimal solution. This is a Pareto optimal solution, optimal compared to the previous one. That means this variable is Pareto optimal. Why Pareto optimal? Because this variable in the I plus 1 iteration is better compared to the solution of the I iteration. So since it is better, so it is Pareto optimal solution. It is optimal, not the best. For now on, it is best. That means for suppose for 70th iteration, it is best, because it was better than 60th iteration. It is better than 60th iteration, so it is optimal compared to 69. Suppose in 79 you get the same result, that means it is not optimal, because previous one was optimal. And again at 72nd iteration you see it is better, then again it will be optimal. So there is some improvement. So in 71st iteration there was no improvement, in 72nd iteration there was improvement. So it is an optimal solution. We call it optimal, MAL, optimal solution. So this statement now justifies that for any allocation, formally an allocation is optimal if there is an alternative allocation where improvements can be made at least one participant's well-being. So that means if one variable is better, then we call it an optimal solution. Okay, and if there is a transfer that this satisfies the condition, then we call this reallocation to be improvement. So improvement is a statement. We call that, yes, at 70th iteration there is some improvement. Why improvement? Because the solution is optimal than the previous one. Now 71st iteration we are not getting any Pareto improvement. Why? Because the solution for the 71st iteration is not Pareto optimal compared to 70th iteration, because the variables are not dominating. But at 72nd iteration, again it is observed that the result is more dominating than the 70th and 71st iteration, because these two iterations are giving the same value, but 72nd iteration is giving better value. So we call that this iteration is giving Pareto optimal solution, because these variables are Pareto dominated, because these solutions are Pareto optimal and there is some improvement. Okay, but after say 130th iteration, after that there cannot be any better result, because 130th, 131st, 132nd, dot 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 up to 200 iteration, it is seen that whatever solution you have got for this situation, you have got some improvement, but after that there is no improvement. You are getting the same result, equals to, all are same result, all are same. That means same variable you are getting. So that means at 131 iteration you are not getting an improvement, 132 also not getting an improvement. That means no Pareto improvements are possible. So last improvement you have got in 130. That means you have got the last Pareto optimal solution at 130. So this is the Pareto optimum solution, MUM, optimum. So Pareto optimum solution is the solution which is the last optimal solution. It is the last optimal solution, because there can be optimal solution after every iteration of last optimal, but last optimal is the penultimate final. That means there is no better solution, there is no improvement after that. So it is the optimum solution. Did you understand this, Deepak?
Yes, sir.
So did you understand the difference between Pareto optimal and Pareto optimum? I think you are not at home, or there is so many background noise. Anyone else? Akshay?
Yes, sir.
So did you understand the difference between Pareto optimal and Pareto optimum?
Yes, little I have understood.
Okay. So optimal means when you are getting a better result compared to the previous iteration. So that means that
Yes,
the better result is, yes, the better result is optimal result. But if there is no further better result possible, that means the last optimal result is called the optimum result. That means the ultimate.
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. There is the, okay, so good. So there is the Pareto optimum solution. So the single objective optimization problems, in single objective, as I have already mentioned, in single objective cases, the Pareto optimum solution is unique, as the focus is on the decision variable space. What is variable space? Variable space means the area in which your variables are existing. That means, suppose you want to find the solution for a function. Suppose f x equals to, okay, x square plus 3x plus 7 equals to, or sorry, x square. Suppose if I tell x is 7, x to the power 7, x to the power 7, then x to the power 6, then like that, a huge solution equals to 0, a huge function equals to 0. And you are told that you have to find the solution of x for which the value is 0, but you cannot take any real number. You cannot take any real number. You cannot take. You have to take the numbers which range from 1 to 10 only. That means 1 to 10 is the variable space or search space. You cannot take a variable less than 1. You cannot take a variable greater than 10. You cannot take 11. You cannot take 0. Okay. So these are the conditions. Okay. So this is called the variable space. So in a single objective, the solution is unique. You will get a single, because it is a single objective function. So whatever value you take, you will check whether it is 0 or not. At one situation, it will be coming 0. So for x, you will get 7 values of x. So 7 values of x will be distinct. So if you solve the problem once again, you will get the same values. So those are unique solutions. But in multiple objective optimization process extends optimization theory by allowing single object to be optimized simultaneously. That means there will be more than one functions. Suppose there are 3 functions, 4 functions, f1x, f2x, f3x, f4x. Under that situation, you will see that if you want to satisfy one function, then the other function can be dissatisfied. So you have to satisfy all the functions, all the single objective functions simultaneously. That means f1x is a function, f1x is a function, it is single objective, f2x is a function, single objective. But if you want to solve them together, that means you are solving the single objective functions simultaneously together. So it is a multi-objective function. So in that case, the solutions, it may result that you are getting a different solution in the second try. It can happen. So the multi-objective optimization is considered as a mathematical process looking for a set of alternatives that represent the Pareto optimal solution. So there will be a situation where you will see they have to go for different iterations, and it may happen after completing one cycle. If you perform the same process once again, you will see that there is scope for better result. So how? Because scope for better result, it may happen because if you use different optimization techniques. Okay, in brief, the optimal solution or the Pareto optimal solution is defined as a set of non-inferior solutions in the objective space, defining a boundary beyond which none of the objectives can be improved without sacrificing at least one of the other objectives. So we will be discussing about this inferior one in a example. Okay, so suppose we have an airline trip example over here. You see this chart. Okay, now in this particular chart, one second. Okay, so in this particular chart, if you see, in the first column we have some the values of name of the ticket. Suppose ticket A, B, C, D, E. Then we have the travel time. Then we have the price. So can anyone tell me which? Suppose you want destination is same. Suppose you want to travel from point 1 to point 2 for one city to second city. Okay. So the destination is same. Suppose you want to travel from say from Delhi to London. Okay, from Delhi to London. But you have 5 different ticket available for you. 5 combination of tickets or different types of tickets by different travel agencies. Okay, their travel time and prices are given. So can anyone tell me which one will you choose then? And which one you will not choose at all? Because this is
Sir, whose price will be less, we will choose it.
Price will be less, but you have to also see the travel time is also high. If you want to choose this,
Yes,
this
sir.
is the lowest one. Okay, so this is the least, you can the cheapest one, $1,700, but the time is 10 hours. But if you see this one is having 9 hours and it is $2,000. Okay, but you will see this one is 8 hours and $1,800. That means no one will choose B because C is always better, because in price wise it is better and in travel wise also it is better, because in this case there are 2 objective functions, one is travel, one is price. So you will always compare in your head that I will choose the lowest one, but also I have to see that which is taking the lowest time, because any particular, you can say, mode of communication, if you take the minimum time, the price will increase, isn't it? Because if you take means a communication path, because if it is taking more time, then it will be cheaper, and if it is reaching your destination fast, then it will be costlier, more expensive. But so that means you have to compare both. There is a multi-objective function. But ticket C, you can in the ticket number C, the price is 1,800 and travel time is 8. And ticket number B, price is 9, price is 2,000, travel time is 9. So in both travel time and price, C is better. So no one will take B, because when they have the C option, everyone will take C. But D, you can see travel time is little bit reduced, but price has increased. Okay, but in E, you can see once again it is very similar to C for ticket number C, that for ticket number E, if you compare with ticket number D, D and E, if you compare, the price is less in E and the travel time is also less in E. That means this number B and number D, nobody will choose. They will, now one will think between these three tickets. Either I will go for A or C or E. Why not B? Because as long as C is there, why should I go for B? B is loss for me, isn't it? I won't gain anything. It will be loss.
Yes, sir.
हम लोग बोलते हैं ना कि ये तो लॉस है. बी टिकट हम खरीदेंगे तो ये हमारे लॉस है क्योंकि सी तो अवेलेबल है. ये चीपर भी है और कम टाइम लेता है. ठीक है. डी को देखेंगे. डी इज चीपर देन डी इज टेकिंग लेस टाइम देन सी पर एक्सपेंसिव. But as soon as you see ticket numbers E, you will see that it is taking less time than D and also less cost. So E will be better than D. So D will not take. So that means this A, C and E are called dominating. Okay. So if we compare ticket A and B, we cannot say that either is superior without knowing the relative importance of travel time and price. Now see. First of all, if you compare A and B, because suppose you don't know C, only you have given two options A and B, then you will be thinking that whether I should go for A or B because I don't know that whether it is justified that if I increase 3,000 or you could say $300, then I can save 1 hour time. Okay, so but we actually don't know that what is the actual ratio between time and price for a ticket because it is not linear. It is not like that for every hour the price will increase by $100. No, it is not like that. It depends upon the company. Okay, so it is not possible. But for if you compare C and B, then you can, there comes a different decision. So however, comparing B and C shows that C is better than B in both objectives. In both objectives. So we can say that C dominates B. So that means C is dominating. As long as C is feasible option, there is no reason we could choose B. Okay, so there is no reason of choosing B. So either we will choose A or C. No chance for B. Similarly, we will choose E but no chance for D. Okay. So if we finish the comparison, we also see that D is dominated by E. So the rest of the options A, C and E have a trade-off associated with time versus price. No and none is clearly superior to the others. We call ACE the non-dominated set of solutions because none of the solutions are dominated. So that means these are called non-dominated because you cannot compare ACD directly and say that A is better than C. No, you cannot say. Why? Because C is costlier than A, but it is also taking less time. Okay, and E is costlier than both A and B, but it is taking the most minimum time, the shortest time. So you will always think that whether I should go for 8 hours or 6 hours or 10 hours. If you don't have too much money, you will go for 10 hours. If you want to save $400, you will go for 8 hours because you may think, okay, 2 घंटे की बात है, 2 घंटे जल्दी पहुंच के क्या करेंगे, $400 बच रहा है. You will go for C. But one who can afford and for whom this 4 hours is not for $400. For 2 hours, sorry, for a person for whom 2 hours is much more precious than money, then that person will take the ticket number E. That means A, C and E, we cannot say that one is dominating other. So they are not dominated, they are non-dominated values. But B and C are actually dominated by the others. Okay. So ACE are non-dominated. So none of them are dominating the other one because A is having some better property, but C is also having some better property and E is also having some better property. Because C is intermediate. Okay, ticket number A, the seller can say that ticket number A is better. Why? It is cheapest. He has a point. Ticket number E can say that this is better. How? Because it is taking the minimum time. So in minimum time, this objective is superior for E, and for cheapest, this objective is superior for A, and C is intermediate. So there can be a customer who can choose C. So they are not dominated by each other. They are non-dominating. Okay. So this is one step how we can proceed for the Pareto optimal solution. Okay. Okay, so I think we can conclude this class for today up to here, because in the next class we will discuss about this one in details. Okay. Well, this is quite interesting and this is quite important, this particular topic. Then we will discuss about the feasible region and all these things. Okay. Okay, so do you have any question regarding today's lecture? Then you can ask. Did you understand this part? This dominating part? Why one is called dominating and why one is called non-dominating?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so dominating means if it is better, then it is dominating. And
Yes, sir.
non-dominated means if you have multiple variables with you and you cannot say that you are better, this is better, this is not better, you cannot say. Then you have to go for other parameters. Then the judgment becomes more critical. Then the dominating factor changes. Okay. Okay, so we will study that in details in the next lecture. Okay, so I'm just recording the attendance. So Akshay, Anjali, Avinash, Deepak, Preeti and Ritesh. Okay, so then thank you for today then you may leave now.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.